From aliens to creepy ruins to hidden wealth, here are some astonishing things people have found in the woods. The message. In 1975, a man reported hiking through the Jefferson Wilderness when he came across a chilling sign. He was trekking along the east side of Eight Lakes Basin when he encountered this eerie message. Formed out of tree bark was the word hell under an arrow pointing east. The arrow had been carefully pieced together using dirt and sticks. He did not know what area of the woods the sign was describing, as he had just been walking in the area it was pointing to and had seen nothing dangerous or unusual. So, who on earth had written this mysterious word in the woods? Was it just a meaningless prank, or was the writer genuinely frightened of an unknown location? With a cabin. What sounds like a classic horror movie scenario was found in the California wilderness. A resident of Arcata, California, was hiking through the Arcata Community Forest when he noticed a small cabin that was almost invisible amongst the dense vegetation. He called the police because it's illegal for people to camp or build dwellings in the forest. When the police arrived, they unlocked the cabin and looked inside. A small living space contained survival items, canned food, a water supply, and even a library. It seemed that the cabin had been occupied by someone since 2010. Before the police left, they hung a sign on the cabin that stated the occupant must remove their belongings and vacate the cabin. However, when the police returned a few days later, they found nothing because the entire dwelling had disappeared. The only thing that remained on site was the International Squatters symbol. Even more bizarrely, there were no signs of machinery or vehicles having been in that area, and no one has seen anyone taking the cabin apart. The abandoned bunker. Two friends out hiking in the woods of northern Germany noticed some large pipe-like periscopes extending out of the ground. The curious pair decided to investigate and uncovered a hidden doorway behind some bushes, which was covered by a large wooden lid. Entering the doorway, they were astonished to discover a huge abandoned army bunker. There was an extensive maze of decaying tunnels heading in different directions from a long central corridor. As they ventured deeper and deeper into the labyrinthine structure, they found strange wall graffiti. One message said "help" in German, and another weirdly "hello Satan, I love you." The further the pair wandered, the more dilapidated the structure became and the deeper the water underfoot, which began to smell of sewage. Finally, they made their way into a huge room with an odd-looking machine in the centre. It seemed like the previous occupants had skipped the bunker in a hurry, as a single shoe remained still stuck in the sludge on the floor. As they continued onwards, the chambers and ducting became more and more run down and corroded. Eventually, the flooding was so deep that the friends decided to end their investigation and return to the entrance. The archaic military bunker was possibly used for shelter regrouping by Nazi soldiers during World War II, but the unanswered mysteries remained of why the soldiers had left in such haste, and who had written the eerie message on the walls. Or perhaps someone else had discovered the underground cavern and was still lurking somewhere within its foul depths. The money room. One man found an old rotten door in the ground, like a storm cellar cover, in the middle of the woods. He managed to open it and was astounded to find a complex of new-looking rooms. When no one replied to its shouted greeting, he decided to explore and walked around, making his way through to the very back room. On kicking this door open, he couldn't believe what he saw and made a very hasty retreat, but not before taking this photo. Gold. Another story of misfortune came from a man in his 70s and was verified as true by his children, by then in their 40s. After returning from a long day in the forest with his son and son's friend, the dad noticed that the boys had filled in their pockets with rocks. He asked them why on earth would they collect rocks while out hunting. The son and his friend told them that the rocks were filled with gold, which of course he did not believe. However, on inspecting the rocks, he found, sure enough, they were quartz rocks that had gold veins in them. The kids told them that there were rocks like this everywhere under what they called the tree. The family then returned to the area every year for the next 20 years, but were never able to find the spot again. The person who posted this story said that 2 years ago he had gone looking for the location of the so-called tree, only to find that the area was now securely fenced and gated, and that there is a huge gold mine there. The artifacts. One of the cruelest chapters in human history was the Holocaust, where Jews were held in concentration camps and suffered at the hands of Nazi soldiers. At one such secluded camp in Poland, a somber legacy was found, not inside the actual camp, but in the surrounding woods. At the Stutthof concentration camp, now a museum, hikers in the woods discovered hidden artifacts that included pieces of prisoner uniforms, belts and shoes. The hoard of these tragic items was about a foot deep and spread out over hundreds of square yards, testament to the 85,000 prisoners who perished whilst there. One museum attendant who had been working there for 30 years said that no one had ever noticed the objects in the woods until now. The alien. Police were alerted by reports of odd behaviour in Corrientes, Argentina, where they apparently captured an image of an otherworldly creature on a mobile phone. Frightened teenagers had called them and accordingly directed them towards an alien-looking being in a park. According to express.co.uk, the creature soon fled into a nearby river where the police officers lost track of it. But the image has already been debunked as a CGI fabrication, a modified version of an alien shown in the ET film Signs. Despite this, paranormal blogger and conspiracy theorist Terry Large wrote, "This photograph is incredible and may be the best evidence of aliens living amongst us yet." Once the police arrived, they wandered over slowly, approaching this strange thing. They soon realised that this was no human, but something else entirely. It appeared to be a rather traditional-looking extraterrestrial being, typically seen in movies and drawings. Larch was stunned by the alien's build and facial characteristics. He described it as having the oval head shape and dark almond-shaped eyes. Its hands appear to have only 3 fingers protruding outward. From the distance of where the photograph was taken, it appears to be fairly tall in height as well. Famed UFO investigator Malcolm Robinson has acclaimed the image as proof positive that extraterrestrials are visiting Earth. He said, "The evidence for me is absolutely overwhelming. Just because something looks and sounds ridiculous, it does not mean to say it is."